Hello. Welcome to a Quantitative Gems introduction. This is a new screencast. My name is Arden Thomas. I'm the Cincom Smalltalk product manager. This is going to be a series of screencasts that will introduce and give you guided examples of how to do quantitative and technical analysis, including creating charts and indicators in Smalltalk. So this series will walk you through how to build algorithms, and we'll try to find some fun and interesting things, including how to build interactive charts. You don't need to have any experience with the Smalltalk programming language or even too much programming. Many non-programming professionals are very successful using Smalltalk. So why do this? Well, I've had a hobby on and off for 3 decades doing technical analysis on stocks, and what I think is combining that with what I think is the greatest computer language ever created. And I'm biased. I'm now the product manager for the original one that came out of Xerox PARC years ago, but it's for good reason. And I'm not trying to tell you to drop whatever you use and pick this up. I'm saying you might enjoy it if you learn it, or what we often find is that it makes folks better with whatever language they're using is if you learn and have some capability with or knowledge of Smalltalk. So why Smalltalk? Well, let me start. Years ago, I used to experiment with all the new languages that came out, and I came across Smalltalk, and which had just become commercially available in the mid '80s. And after I learned that, I basically never looked back. I could express everything I wanted to, and get things done very, very clearly, succinctly, and in a very well organized fashion. So it lets you express everything very clearly, and that makes it easier to understand and maintain. And what we often find is folks using Smalltalk can get their arms around harder problems, which can let them get, it can be a competitive advantage. It can let them tackle more difficult things than they could in some other languages. So if you're not familiar with Smalltalk, it was created at Xerox, the Xerox Palo Alto Research Center, and they basically pioneered modern computing back in the 70s. So they pioneered the graphical user interface, doing drag and drop, the office metaphor. If you've ever wondered why you call your files files and you store them in folders, this came out of this. Also, frameworks like Model View Controller and a lot more were pioneered and invented by Xerox back in the 70s. Also, we'll talk about recently, I wrote an article for the magazine Technical Analysis of Stocks and Commodities, and I'll show you a little bit about that. But let's look at a few things that we'll be covering in the series. Here's an article by J. Capel. His URL is jonthemarkets.com, and it talks about 2 simple momentum indicators and the pretty impressive results. So what we're going to do is look through, okay, well, how do I replicate those results using Smalltalk? And we'll go through that in a screencast. Here's basically the code and the results and a number of things we learned and how to express that clearly and succinctly. Another article I found that we replicated is, here's the S&P 500 index right here from 2019 and 2020. And below here, this shows the RSI indicator for all the S&P 500 stocks. The green is the percentage of stocks in the S&P 500 that are over an RSI reading of 70, and the red is the number that are below the reading of 30. And we'll walk through that, including how to create interactive charts like this that lets you move through, build candlestick charts, zoom in and out, etc. In another screencast, we'll show you how to do this. This is a stochastic vote indicator, which is actually an algorithm I put together. And the blue line shows buying pressure, and the red line shows selling pressure for a particular stock. Here we're looking at Boeing. We can see when blue is high, it might be a time when it's historically lower, possible buying opportunity, and when red and high is high, it's basically the opposite. So this article and how to do it, we'll go into some coding details, but this is basically in the August 2020 issue of Technical Analysis of Stocks and Commodities. It's this article right here, and here is a thumbnail on it. And here you have a similar chart. So that is, again, it will show you how to use voting. It's actually for a stochastic indicator with multiple time frames and how to create votes on it. So we'll discuss that. If there's something specific that you'd like to see, or you have questions, comments, suggestions, please send them to athomas@cincom.com. That's Arden Thomas. That's myself at athomas@cincom.com. And I hope you really enjoy this. Thank you.